All right, I'm back again, sort of lounging about here with Mr. Jones, and gonna go ahead and do my commentary on the presidential election, Obama and McCain, and the whole situation at the moment, and just document my personal opinion about a lot of that stuff. Um, been meaning to for a while. So this will probably be cut into multiple segments, so don't be surprised if you see cutting around and whatnot. And also, too, don't be surprised that I'm just lounging about because, to really be honest, I don't feel like doing anything else at the moment. So, well, first up, I've been having a hard time coming to a conclusion as to how I should vote this upcoming election, and phew, it's been kind of difficult to make a real clear decision as to what I should even do, really, being that I'm a small government person, and there really are no small government candidates. There's not even a protest vote candidate. It's small government. Um, yeah, my usual staple is to deflect back to the Libertarian Party because, supporting the third party movement breeds awareness of the issue of engorged, oversized, ridiculous government. And unfortunately, I can't do that because as the political landscape has progressed, uh, polarizing politics, stuff that has brought out the real hardcore leftists, the real hardcore right people, the paradigm of the Iraq, the war on terror versus the megalomaniacal machinations of the Bush regime, have really polarized the political landscape, and independents are the most affected by that. And you'll see that reflected in the general makeup of third parties like the Libertarian Party. And unfortunately, that's started to show itself in the everyday happenings of the party. When they in the last election season, they nominated Michael Badnarik as their candidate, and Michael Badnarik, even if you didn't happen to like him, was a pretty principled libertarian. He was a little wacky on a few things, but he was. You could vote for him as a protest vote, and it made sense because by voting for him, people who went and looked him up found that he was pretty consistent on the stances and the issues. They might have saw some things, if they had the time, they might have saw his constitutional lectures. They might have saw his various stances on those kind of things, and those things breed awareness, and there's a benefit to doing that. I'm a firm believer that that's not a wasted vote. But unfortunately, the Libertarian Party this election season has been just inundated with people that are really not libertarian, really. The supporters of Bob Barr got him elected, and he was Bob Barr's neocon, historical neocon, and he says that he rescinds all of his voting habits or everything because he believes in the party now. But Bob Barr's a notorious bullshitter. I mean, you can see it, obvious. It's plain plumb bullshit. And to be honest, I don't see how people in the party don't see that, but then again, people in the party aren't really people in the party. They're like fringe middle people that don't know how to vote this time. And also, too, the second runner-up was really dismaying, Mike Gravel. He shouldn't even be running as a Libertarian Party candidate, but yet he was, and that just shows you how much the party base has switched off in this election season. So, it's really, and there's no way to fix that besides changing the political landscape as to, the paradigm. Paradigm right now is the war on terror versus, people supporters of the war on terror versus people that are against it. And the problem with the paradigm is that there's really only one way to change it. The one way to change the paradigm is to make an affront to new mainstream political issues, and that's not really going to happen with John McCain, who is my preferred candidate if you were to consider viewpoints, although preferred in this sense is like the preference of two evils. And the thing is that if John McCain gets elected, he's not going to substantially change the political landscape. Everybody that has a problem with Bush now is just going to supplant Bush for McCain. You know, he's a war hawk. The war on terror will continue. You know, the occupation in Iraq will even continue. So it'll be the same story for another 4 years at least. Um, but, you know, despite all that said, the country would probably be better off with somebody who's not going to mangle the economy, and just generally do the damage that misbegotten idealism does, in the sense that Barack Obama would if he were elected. And, you know, going to Barack Obama, I think I've hit a plateau for just how much I can dislike him. Because if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know, I don't feel like I need to go into really long depth as to why I dislike Barack Obama. You know, I don't think that he's as qualitative and American as others, you know, because he plays a strife of his racial heritage, you know, about how he struggled, and you know, all that stuff, and really, that's all bollocks. That's not really American. You know, it's not. It might be, you know, it might be what Democrats consider patriotic. You know, sort of like a man conflicted who, you know, is running to win it all, even though the odds are against him. You know, that might look, you know, patriotic to the Democrat, you know, the typical Democrat. But to me, that's just shenanigans. And really, that's the cliched archetype of the perfect Democratic candidate, and that's of course one of the reasons I dislike him. But I think I've hit the plateau on the disliking, because I keep finding myself excusing things about his platform. For instance, I'm a libertarian. I'm a small government person. So I really believe that nearly everything the government does, nearly everything, I would say almost like 100% of everything it does, can be done better by private parties. Not necessarily. I don't necessarily mean to glorify the free market, because the free market's, you know, it is what it is. The free market's a good system, but you know, it's by no means a perfect system. Constantly drawing back to the arguments to have government regulate. But the simple fact of the matter is that it works better generally than government intervention. And there's one thing that we've historically proven, is that government intervention is horribly failing at everything it does. It's not so much that the free market does things better per se, it's that the government just fails so bad at doing everything that it does. And that's a practical truth as well as an idealistic truth. You know, there's like a maxim within libertarians generally, that government is a necessary evil, or that when we go beyond its very limited scope, we're inviting problems that we're gonna, like, there's a mathematical theorem: the more government, the more problems. That is true to an extent, and you know, the thing is I've been you know, ruining universal health care, for instance. But as I've gotten older, I've realized that there's really nothing I can do to prevent universal health care from being an initiative that pretty much everybody in America is going to support, even broadly amongst both parties. I'm surprised Republicans haven't started borrowing on this initiative, because even though it's a horrible, stupid idea, and even though, you know, the arguments are easy to refute about how great it is versus our current system, which, you know, our current system is poor, but that's mainly also because of government intervention. So more government intervention is not the way to fix it. But all these things aside, universal health care as an initiative is something that I and others are not going to have a real chance to prevent. No matter how much I like limited government or capitalism or freedom or things like that. And if anyone were to implement a universal health care program, I'd prefer it have some sort of opt-out provisions, and Obama's plan seems to have that, and I'm almost of the mind to say, fuck it, just let it happen, stop worrying about it, and then it'll get fucked up. Everybody will see that. They won't do anything about it, obviously. Yeah, I've given up a certain degree of hope that things will change. And it's largely because of people like Barack Obama. But there's a certain practicality in just having the... why don't we put it like this? It's, you know, nobody likes to get vaccinations. You know, they don't like to have the needle prick in the arm. Well, let's just call this the vaccination against a disease that we're never going to get. and the vaccination is probably gonna like hurt us. I just want the vaccination over with. Okay, I'm gonna get I'm gonna get sick. I'm gonna want to die, and it's gonna have no practical benefit for me. But get it over with because I'm done. So I've seemed to level out my dissent or dislike for Barack Obama, and the real thing about that is that I'm still not voting for him. If I vote for him on that principle, on the principle of changing the political landscape to potentially benefit the political discourse by taking all these polarized people who need to get hobbies and lives out of the political process, so seeing normal people who reason can get back into it. That would be a benefit of Barack Obama being elected, and I still don't see that as being a benefit enough to justify electing him. Or being a part of the process. Because if I vote for him, it's partly my fault that he's there. And that's really a horrible thing to want to take responsibility for. And likewise, even though I prefer the middling issues of John McCain, if I vote for him, I'm essentially sending the Iraq War. So it's catch-22. It's like I'm voting for bad or I'm voting for bad. And if I vote for either thing, I'm the problem. I'm the problem. And there's no protest vote. So, okay, there's no protest vote. I'm a problem or I'm a problem. That's not satisfactory to me. That's not like a decision. That's like, fuck you, take it in the ass, the American people are stupid, and decide to have a poor political process. That, if anything, is the main argument I'm going on right now leaning towards not voting at all. Because while the common cliche is if you don't vote, you have no entitlement to bitch. To tell you the truth, if I voted anyway, I mean, any of the ways that I could vote, I mean, fuck, if I voted for the Green Party candidate, whatever I do, I'm fucking myself, basically. So whatever I do, it's contributing to the problem itself. There's nothing that this decision would allow me to fix or make better in the world and right today, I mean, there's no amount of anything I can do to breed awareness to the issues that are important to myself, and that's part of what politics is for. You vote your opinion because your opinion's going to help. It represent. The people that you vote for represent your opinions, and none of the candidates really do that. So I predict failure on the part of either candidate if they get elected. And mainly that's because no matter which candidate it is that gets elected, the partisan political process remains unchanged. The political landscape would change a bit if it was Barack Obama being elected, but on the other hand, that could be a very negative thing, and but it's a negative thing to stagnate too. To have John McCain essentially be Bush Jr., Jr., but it would be Bush Jr., Jr. Well, there's still plenty of time to change my mind, but disaffected voter am I, and I mean, it's basically a decision between stagnation versus degradation, and I really don't prefer either of those things, and I think it's unfair to a lot of the voters in America that the decisions are always so limited in this situation. And if there was a way to suggest fixing that I thought that anybody would take up and run with, I would propose it. But I've come to learn that those things too are things that commonly don't change about the country. So we follow again the pattern of going downwards. Increasing the size of government constantly, and protesting, only when we don't get the increases that we want. And really what we need to see is, in my opinion, to wrap it up, what we need to see is a better focus on not just, thinking that we can eliminate government waste and not increase spending to start a new initiative, but stopping the starting of new initiatives, stopping a lot of the excesses of government, and going back a bit, rethinking a lot of what we've done so far, and tearing down to an extent a certain part of that government bureaucracy that is continued to fail us time and time again. Um, I think the American voters would be happier with that in the end, but neither of the major political parties think that, and neither do the core of those party supporters who are unfortunately somehow convinced what they are doing is improving the country. And they think that because they look at the nominees, they look at John McCain and Barack Obama, and they think, wow, I really want to vote for one of those two guys. And I want to be the person to say I want to vote for neither of them. So, all right, well, that's my synopsis. I'm kind of glad I got it out. Just hope it didn't turn out crap. So feel free to leave any comments or anything. And hey, have a good evening. Later.